Well, this shit's back in the game. Isn't that unfortunate? Isn't that unfortunate, lads? Decisive Strike is back in your game of Dead by Daylight. And technically, the thing never left. Like, if you were good at the game, you could make use of 3-second Decisive Strike. You just weren't allowed to be trash. If you were trash, or if you were trash, low, even mid-level, certain tiles, against certain killers, I guess. That's like that's the perk didn't help you. But if you were good or great, or if you were mid-level playing against a Legion or so, it just depended, kind of stuff like that. But basically, DS never left the game if you were good at it. However, if you're good, I mean, if you were a survivor who was good at it. DS was only not really an option to those that were horrible at Dead by Daylight. However, they buffed the fucking thing. And, oh yes, it's back. The shit is back, and the 5-second stun feels just as bad as it ever did. This shit right here is absolutely ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous when you get hit by it. And again, they can use it offensively again. Just ask Demogorgon. They can use the fucking shit offensively again and just force you to slug them. And so the consistency of a tunnel has been nerfed. And so what do? The consistency of a tunnel has been nerfed, which means the amount of hooks that you're going to be getting nerfed. You're not going to see as many hooks in a match. Unless you're playing like garbage, of course. So, DS back what do is the question. And for M2 killers, and again, for the very sad part is for Nurse Blight and Spirit, this isn't that big of a deal. This is not that big of a deal. Like all the top tiers, this isn't a big deal for them. They can power through 5-second DS. Again, I explained this on my stream. It disproportionately affects the roster. Buffing Decisive Strike, very lazy band-aid fix to fix the problem of the game. Of course, you could just make Killer more rewarding to go around and actually pressure the survivors, but that would require us to buff Killer, which is not what we're looking to do. Obviously, of course, why would you do that? Behavior did what they always do. Choose the lazy band-aid fix and just buff Decisive Strike, which is very negative reinforcement. Makes the game feel like absolute shit. Awful. Decisive Strike is very, very awful. But the problem is, what I find to be the meta build of this game, the system to control the gens, there's a slight issue that is very evident if you're trying to run it. There is against anybody that is good and you're forcing you to respect DS, where if you get hit by a Decisive Strike, you lose the game, right? If you get hit by a Decisive Strike, you just lose the game again. So you can't get hit by that fucking shit. But there's waiting for somebody to be ready to be hooked again. If you slug them, there's time Swift can fucking die. Swift can pick the guy up. Swift can pick the guy up, or at least while you're sitting there waiting for the DS to end, or worse yet, small PP exists again. So there's some issues that we're finding, and what do is the solution is the question. Now, again, for M2 killers, this isn't for the top tiers. This is not impactful. They're going to be able to get the down in 5 seconds after. They're going to be able to have the guy down again in 10 to 15 seconds after a Decisive Strike hits. Continue their tunnel and continue to play pretty much the same way they have been already. So for them, their builds might not even be changing. They'll still be able to systematically control the gens through hooks, through nothing but Scourge and Pop. Scourge and Pop might be able to continue to be how top tiers win games. However, as you start to go down the tier list, what you're going to notice is that, again, a DS is more destructive. A DS can cause you to lose the game. And your system to control the gens, you're going to be hooking a lot less. Because of the fact that, again, if you can... You're going to be hooking less because you're going to be downing slow. So what do is the question here? Kind of what do. Now again, you could just keep trying to make the build work. And something I might even try to do is try to continue doing this again. But it's time to consider other options. I think I'm at the point where it's time to consider other options, especially on some other characters in the game. Because here's the thing, there's still, when you look, I think M2 killers that are not, obviously not the best have an interesting way of looking at the fucking game. Because they can go, okay, play with your food is nice. Play with your food is nice, and if you're trying to systemically control the gens through multiple hooks, multiple people, etc., you can actually, but you can make that work. Like, it's good to have. It's even great, but like the issue is with DS in the game, there are so many situations where you get robbed of a hook. You get robbed of a hook. That means when you're walking around the map, you are not as powerful to actually stop the gens, allowing good players to actually power through more gens before you're up and kind of in control of the game, before you have enough gone to the hump got bigger, if you will, before you won. So the question kind of becomes: is there anything you can do to kind of mitigate that? And the answer that I am finding for M2 killers is what you should be doing, like for Demogorgon. I kind of played demo a little bit today. Here's what I've noticed. Here's what I noticed. Now, as great as play is, and again against the way it was kind of being used before, again, you could make the argument that it was always this way, but I think it is at least emphasized in this current meta that if you have a power that is even halfway usable, you need to take a chase perk out, because you have to have as many options to slow down the gens as possible again. What you lose in lethality by sacking play, you need to just up your skill with the power. That is about where we are in the game. Now again, people might be inclined to go, this is good because it ups the amount of skill needed to play Dead by Daylight. Like virgins will say that, but the way that it works is like, again, you're losing a lot of actual gameplay by taking off play, because again, a lot of tiles are now worthless again. The issue is, because again, here's the issue: the perk that is still killing you, the perk that you wish was dead, the perk that you wish was dead was Corrupt Intervention very, 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 very desperately. Very, very desperately. You wish that perk wasn't needed. You wish that was base kit. You very much wish that was a base mechanic in Dead by Daylight. The problem is it's not. And against a team where, like, you get it down really quick, again, but the system, you'll find that the system of hooks has weaknesses, again, because you're not getting as many hooks because of Decisive Strike. Again, even if you can actually get hit by a DS, like, before in the system, you could actually, like, realistically hope to get the guy again, depending on location, map, etc. Now they can sprint halfway across the map again, so that guy is a ghost if you get hit by a Decisive Strike. Unless you're like a character like Unknown or something, like potentially, etc., etc. But again, we're not talking about these. I'm talking about M1 killers that actually kind of needed a play with their food to begin with. Okay, these weaker characters in the game, but it's like you have to maximize the utility of your killer's power now to delete play with their food, because I'm finding, lads, that in this meta, what you can actually do is you can get massive value from your slugs again. You need to, because you're slugging more in this meta, because it's like you're slugging more again, okay? Because you're slugging more again, the two perks that I'm finding are making a comeback are Surge and Eruption. I'm finding that they are very much making a comeback in this new meta because you're slugging more. You're slugging more again. You're getting downs that you don't know if you're going to be able to hook the guy off of. So, and again, you might go, Rosie, but what about the regression event meta? Where like the regression events are a pain in the dick again because you're getting up. Remember, you have 8 regression events, lads. Those are resources that you have. There are so many situations in the game where you will find that a cross map or nearby gen blow up is extremely helpful. So like you don't mind giving up 2 regression events, because if you don't give up the 2 regression events, they're going to get the gen done and you're going to lose the regression events. If they pop a generator, every regression event that you did not use on that generator is a wasted resource. Because they are capped now, you lose those resources. So if you're not using them, you're wasting resources. And again, a regression event is the most important resource you have in Dead by Daylight. It's the most important resource you have. If you kick a generator, regresses 5%, leave and get it down, you are then hoping that you can come over and pop. The previous version of Gen Control would hope that you could have enough time to get over there and pop it after you hook somebody. You don't know if your down is going to be able to actually save you and actually save the gen. But if you're tunneling somebody and you have 3 gens hit with eruption and you down them and then they try to protect the guy, you're also getting free regression value, because remember, Ruin is still trash. They have not fixed Hex Ruin yet and likely never will. Because Hex Ruin is still trash, the closest 2 perks in the game to a Hex Ruin are Surge and Eruption. They can cause map-wide regression, and then remember, it keeps ticking until they get back over to it. That's still helpful. That is still helpful. And so when you're an M2 killer looking at the situation, especially if you're an M2 killer, it is very tempting for you at this point to go, I need to just play with your food, maximize my powers, my base, maximize what is in my base kit. What can I do to maximize, to get play out, demo, pyramid head, any killer that might run a chase perk in this meta, you need to get that shit out. And not because it's not helpful or not good, but because you're going to need extra regression value in this meta if you want to actually realistically control the gens. Your system to control them needs to be stronger. So, and again, this DS change disproportionately affects M1, because M1's really screwed up. Because you need pain res. Of course you need pain res. The issue is still corrupt is in your build, and you wish it wasn't. Because you need 5 slots when you're M1. You need corrupt, and you need play, and you need pop, and you need pain reso. And now I think you need Surge or Eruption. Again, to deal with the DS. Surge and Eruption help you deal with DS. I swear they do. But if you're M1, you're looking at that going, okay, what am I giving up? Are you giving up Pop Goes the Weasel? Is that what you're giving up? It's hard to give up Pop. Some characters might be able to give up Pop, like Twins. Twins might be going, okay, Pop's not that great, so I'm going to throw Eruption. Pop's not great for me because of the nature of how my power works. So Eruption has more of a synergy with the slug game, so I'm going to put on Corrupt, Pain Rezo, Eruption, and then I don't know, Deadlock or something. What I'm trying to Force Penance. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So for FP, Eruption, Pain Res, and Corrupt, and I'm good. Unknown's gonna put in. A lot of the M2 killers can just that don't need a chase perk can just run this hyper slowdown build. Some characters like Spirit can still get that value out of Sloppy. Like Sloppy can still be okay on some of these killers. If you're a top tier, this change doesn't matter. It's just these low tiers, and the current killer dilemma is that there are 5 to 6 options realistically competing if you're trying to actually run gen defense, and you're trying to actually stop them from completing gens. There's 5 to 7 options realistically competing, and you could say, we'll just run the gen build, but I'm telling you, you're going to misplay. I'm telling you, you're going to miss that added lethality that these chase perks give you. And Corrupt, forget about it. I labbed trying to take that out. Today. The early game is much more stressful, completely. Now, again, if they're ass and you get it down in 10 seconds, great. You can beat that team. But it's like these games, man, these games where they can hold you to 2-3 hell states, it very much increases when you rip Corrupt out. If you take Corrupt out, the games where you will be held to 2 to 3 hell states, maybe 1 or 2 downs, those go up. Those do go up without Corrupt, which is of course how I kind of predicted it kind of would. Now, again, if you're running a whole build like Wage does to where it's like a big endgame shenanigans, which, by the way, that build's going to be worse now, too, because you got a tunnel. You got to tunnel somebody out. Have fun trying to tunnel somebody out with Decisive Strike in the game. So that build's worse, too. DS being back limits killer options again, especially on weaker characters. So what do? The solution, I really think the solution to that is killer dependent at this point. I think if in this specific meta, you're going to see very different builds on different characters. Very different as in some different characters have different answers to that question. Whereas Unknown is going to be more than happy to kind of just run full gen defense. Michael Myers might be going, okay, I need Corrupt, I can't take that out. I need Play, I can't take that out. Because I'm trash, I'm M1. Maybe I give up Pop Goes the Weasel and just rely on full distance progression events. Maybe that's what you do. Or maybe if it's a smaller map, you say I'm going to do Surge. And I'm going to go for a slug-based approach and not use Pop Goes the Weasel. I'm going to use Pain Res and Surge along with Corrupt, and that's going to be my system. And I'm going to use Play to get as many downs as I can. Again, Surge and Eruption might flip depending on which killer you are and what map you're on. Whereas the same character, like again, the dependency of the kind of system that you want to be using, there's a lot of nuance that goes into it now. What map are you on? Are you good? If you're on Dead Dog Saloon as M1, maybe you want to bring Surge to try to conserve regression events. But maybe you don't, because again, if Surge has a weakness where it can overstimulate itself very quickly, but at the same time, you also have 3 downs if you proc 3 regression events on it in a row. So it's kind of tough to say. This is a diverse meta, but for the wrong reasons. Again, diverse as in like different killers are might likely have again different answers to this question. Whereas I don't know, Hag might give up Pop. Like these 110 characters might give up Pop, the high movement killers might keep Pop. If you're Unknown, you definitely don't want to be giving up Pop Goes the Weasel. But Hag lets Sloppy Butcher because he keep people injured. So maybe Hag's going to do like something like Corrupt, Sloppy, Pain Res, and Eruption to kind of maximize get the progression that way. The change that is good favors the DS change favors slug builds and your hooks, the system of using hooks to kind of be walking around with the Pop Goes the Weasel to have to like actually progress the gens. It is suffering because of this Decisive Strike change. Because if you get hit by 1 DS, the game is over. I promise. I promise you. Like everyone goes, I just still hear people say, tunnel through it. If you get hit by a Decisive Strike against a good team, the game is over. I promise. You will never get your momentum back. It is a stone wall that is... And again, I tried to kind of use the... Again, I was predicting that my system was going to be a little bit more effective, but like it has the weakness of maybe you got to challenge DS here, or if you get hit by a DS, it's over. And it's just... If you can, like, occupy 2 survivors, like, one guy's out of pallets, I don't know, man. And there's just so many situations that we can't even hope to cover them all in one video. But the way that things are going with this game, again, because, again, DS isn't good, it's broken. Like, it's broken. They need to be absolutely fucking horrible to actually misuse Decisive Strike now. I think it should be 4 seconds. And that's what it was in the PTB. And they made sure that they changed back the animation and raised it to 5. And now it's horrible again. It definitely needs a nerf to where if you use it if you interact with a killer object, the perk goes away. That buff is definitely needed. That nerf is definitely needed. If somebody gets off the hook, they are now the most powerful survivor in the game again, because they can go destroy portals on Demogorgon and not take a hit, right? They can go around, do this. They can fucking go around, grab an EMP and blow your shit up And then if they have off the record too, then they can sponge a hit and chase, blow your shit up. It just, if you touch a killer object, your shit should be gone. Your shit should be done. That is definitely the most kind of fair thing to do there. Offensive DSs can win games again. It's I don't know. Absolutely horrible. But those are just some of my spitballing to kind of the answer to the question of what do DS back. What do. So I don't know, lads. That's about where we are. I'm tired of talking about Dead by Daylight for one day, though, so I'm going to get the hell out of here now. GG's.